All right. Good afternoon. Hope everybody had a good lunch. Nice to meet you all. As Frank said, my name is Jane, Vice President, driving the MemMachine open source project and commercial. So I thought it'd be fun to create this presentation today, mostly with AI. So you're going to see a lot of AI generated photos. Apologies for that in advance. But obviously the person presenting is a real human being. So just to kick it off, I thought it might be fun. This is actually, we're very close to the 3-year anniversary of ChatGPT being kind of born. I think in 9 days, November 30th or December 1st was when ChatGPT came out. And I think the reason we're all here today is because that really kicked off a spark or a big bang, you might want to say. And it gave us all some new inspiration for what's possible with AI. And I think that if some of you, I don't know if how many of you are kind of developers, or if you're kind of very tied into this all the news and developments with AI. But most days for me, this is how it feels like. Can barely keep up, even though my full-time job is to keep up with AI. And given ChatGPT is not even 3 years old, this is still the very early years of call it the big AI Big Bang. So this is kind of like the primordial soup or the plasma or some of those things that scientists think came right after the Big Bang. And I thought there was a lot of parallels to kind of like right where we are today here, and this kind of early, messy and kind of chaotic time period right after the Big Bang. So then kind of like my next natural question afterwards was how did life form, and kind of where did life form, right? And so apparently life formed in the ocean, in the seas. The kind of the first process for organisms was through chemosynthesis. Then you had photosynthesis, and then you and I, we all breathe primarily oxygen to stay alive. And if you're also kind of in this space, living and breathing it every other day, we're kind of thinking about whether or not we're in a bubble, or is AI going to truly deliver on the promise of on the technology? Are we going to find useful enough use cases to keep us all employed and help us to make some money? So I'm going to transition obviously into a little bit more about my point of view, and I think some of the team here at MemVerge's point of view, which is very much that we have this ecosystem. It's a little bit messy. Everyone's trying to do a little bit of what everybody else is doing. The agent builders are not really just doing agent development kits. Some of them are doing memory. Some of them are doing interfaces. The apps are doing all sorts of things that are really hard to keep track of. There's a new model coming out every day. But I believe fundamentally, at the end of the day, AI systems breathe memory and context. So if you cannot deliver good memory and context to the AI, it's not going to do a very useful thing for you at the very end of the day. So I'm very excited that all of you decided to spend your Friday here today to be part of this dialogue, to hear all the speakers. We wanted to make this a very inclusive event. We invited everybody. And this really, this is because we believe that if we work together to make good memory, make good context, that's ultimately what's going to make good AI, because it is really the oxygen. Just like we require oxygen to stay alive, AI requires context and memory. So I know Charles covered a lot of the technical aspects of MemMachine this morning. If you did miss his talk, it'll be recorded. And I'm not really here to talk too much about the technology, but I did want to talk about the community that we're building. And I wanted to invite all of you to participate. So really, the QR code on the top right is our Discord community. And this is really the culture that we're trying to drive for everyone who is working in this space. We want it to be a culture that is open. We want it to be a culture that is people-centered, even though we're doing a lot of things with AI. We're trying to do a lot of things that are a mix of digital as well as events in real life. We're doing a mix of hackathons. We're doing a mix of educational events. And the reason we even have a Discord is because any one of you guys can drop in on any given day. And if you need help with building an AI application and you're trying to use MemMachine, we want to be there for you. So this is the culture that we're building. If it sounds good to you, encourage you to take an action to join us, to drop into our Discord, get to know some of the folks, see what other people are building. We've only been a public open source project for less than 3 months, but we already have a few successful deployments, which I'll talk about later. And you can get to know these people. You can hear what they had to do to get from point A to point B. It's just a really great place to be. So invite all of you guys to join us. I also wanted to tell you a little bit more about some of those early users, how they think about MemMachine, where it's been specifically helpful for them. You're going to see a lot of QR codes because I'm really here to help other people look good, right? Our team is really focused on helping you get from your idea to the application that you're building, to the startup that you're trying to launch, to the enterprise agent that you're trying to build. We're trying to get you from point A to point B. So really, I see my job as helping to tell the stories that other people have had as they have worked with our team and as they have been able to use MemMachine. So on the left, I want to profile kind of a few very different people and use cases. So on the left, you have a person named Jenny Oyang. She is a very successful Substack content creator. She writes all sorts of content for folks that want to build with AI tools. So if you're somebody who wants to learn how to use different AI tools to build applications, she has a really great Substack. We got to know each other a few months ago because she was looking for a better way to handle memory in some of the AI tools that she was building. And when she heard about MemMachine, one of the types of memory that really intrigued her and excited her was profile memory. Because for her, she has a brand, right? She writes all of this AI content. She has a voice. And she's also looking for other people who live on Substack and write content. And she wants to find other voices that are both similar and different from her, because that way she can collaborate and she can contrast. So profile memory is a really great, profile memory within MemMachine is a really great tool for her to quickly kind of encode what her profile of writing looks like compared to somebody else's profile of writing looks like. And this is how she uses us today for her work, which is called Build to Launch. It's her newsletter. She has over 3,000 followers. Brandon Monroe, he's the founder and creator of Character Engine. He had this idea to start Character Engine because he tried to raise money for his startup a few years ago. And he found out he was horrible at pitching. He could not pitch for his life. And what he built was a set of AI coaches, characters that are specifically focused on helping him become a better version of himself. And so his first AI coach is this character named Marcus Sterling, who is focused on helping you become a better pitcher of whatever idea, whether it's to land a job, whether it's to raise money. Basically, he wanted to build an AI coach that wouldn't just tell you the things that you wanted to hear, which a lot of times if you use ChatGPT, it's just overly nice and sycophantic. He wanted to build an AI that is not afraid to call your BS if you're not giving the right effective, pitch and message. And what he found was that by being able to then layer in this personality of a Marcus Sterling with the ability to remember each and every one of the users that is using Marcus to help them pitch better, this creates a much better user experience over multiple sessions. So just like you would hire a human coach or a human counselor to help you work on different things to make yourself better. Now his AI characters can help you over multiple sessions and remember where you left off, and also what your strengths and weaknesses are, and what topics or what pitches that you were working on previously that you needed help with. So MemMachine is also now powering the characters that are part of the Character Engine portfolio. So again, QR code if you want to check out his website. He's basically bringing in the founding members, founding users of these AI characters. You guys can just take these characters for a test drive and kind of see how memory does augment and enhance some of these types of AI coaching use cases. Next, we have another company. This is a collaboration use case. The company is called Teammate, and what their vision was is to not create an AI that just helps one-to-one. They wanted to create an AI agent that is able to understand what an entire team is doing, have the context and memory of what that team is doing, down to the individual level, but at any given time, that AI agent can be called on to go and help get something done. And so what they did was they implemented a Slack-based agent first. By no means are they limiting themselves to just being a Slack-based teammate or agent, but they started there. And then they used MemMachine as that long-term memory context layer. And it's really, really effective. In fact, they're so successful at building something useful that we decided to in-house Teammate for both technical program management. So think about keeping track of all the crazy stuff going on in our GitHub account. Now that we're an open source project, to also helping my team do more customer facing, marketing focused, educational content focused tasks. And so what you see on the right side is an example of Teammate at work in a real way within our Slack. I can just give it a simple prompt like, how can I start incorporating Taco based on your knowledge of my work? And it knows what it knows what I'm talking about. So Taco is actually it's an SEO focused agency based in Brooklyn, New York. They recently published a notion about how to drive better AI SEO to your company or website. And they shared that notion with me. So then I shared my notion with Teammate. And then Teammate now has the memory of these best practices that this SEO agency called Taco shared with me. And now I want to start incorporating it into my job, which is to talk about MemMachine to the community. And in this particular conversation, Teammate helped me to basically recommend or draft an initial 14-day action plan for how we can improve the AI searchability of MemMachine, and created a Google Doc that we can then edit and work off of. So this is an example of that long-term memory and context in a very practical way, implemented as a Slack agent that we use, and also Teammate is helping other companies and startups to use as well. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys kind of like 3 vignettes of how memory systems can be used. The first one was Substack content creation. The second one was AI voice-based coaches. And then the third one is as a productivity AI agent, so, so to speak, Teammate. I have a DM with it in Slack, and it's also in several of our Slack channels to help us with different projects and workloads. And so now, a little bit more practical stuff. I don't know how many of you guys are in a DevRel kind of role, but one thing that we are also putting together is, I guess what we'll call an AI Memory DevRel Alliance. So it's basically a way for folks who are driving DevRel at your respective companies to kind of stay in touch for the goal of educating the community together. We believe, your perspective plus our perspective plus the perspective of others is going to be a better education for the folks that are trying to do some of this work. Also help each other succeed. Iron sharpens iron. There's different things that we're all good with, and there's certain things that we're not. It's just a way to keep in touch on a regular basis and help each other out, and also compare notes. What's working, what's not working. So if you're interested in being part of this, this AI Memory DevRel Alliance, please talk to me, or please talk to Gowrie in our audience. We're driving some of this work together, and we'd love to form a little working group. And then for anyone who's primarily more of a developer versus a dev evangelist or DevRel kind of person, would love to get a GitHub star from you guys. Please check out our project. This QR code goes straight to our GitHub project page. We also would welcome and invite all of you to be involved beyond just being a user. If you're interested in this technology at a at a technical coding level, we would love to also work with some of you as contributors to the project. And we do have some programs for rewarding our early adopters and early open source contributors. And lastly, we do have some folks that also are doing the work of helping to tell your story, what you're building, why you're building it, what problems you're trying to solve. And so if you're building applications, agents, all sorts of things with MemMachine, we want to help you get the word out, get your first customers, tell your story. So, so these are all the, call it the benefits for being plugged into our community here. Yes, and lastly, if you want to just keep in touch with what I'm doing, what our team is doing, we're trying to be on all platforms as many as we can. So this is just a way to kind of keep in touch with me and the team that supports me.